Hello everyone, I am Preet and welcome to Relevant Myths. In this video, I will discuss some really fascinating trivia from ancient India. Marriage is arguably the most important long ritual in traditional Hindu practices. In ancient India, marriage was widely seen as a mandatory duty of a boy and girl and was not a consensual affair. Also, many agricultural metaphors have been used for marriage. For example, a man is considered the farmer and woman the field. The farmer plows the field and plants the seed in order to get the crop, i.e., the child. Now, this may seem very patriarchic, but it's because it is patriarchic. Ancient India, and not just India, the entire world was and sadly still is patriarchic. So that will be quite clearly reflected in the types of marriages as well. In the old texts like Manusmriti, a very patriarchal language has been used and women have been treated as mere property. So a disclaimer that I am staying true to these text descriptions, so that sentiment might be reflected from the classification also. But that is the tone of how these classifications were made and not my personal opinions on them, so please bear that in mind. There are 8 main types of marriages as described in the Manusmriti and various other Puranas, with all having minor discrepancies with each other and having different status in the society. So, let's discuss them. Brahma Vivah. When the father, after learning his character, relations, knowledge, and health, invites a man to marry his daughter according to rituals, then that marriage is called Brahma Vivah. Brahma Vivah is the closest to our modern arranged marriage, where the parents first check the background of the intended and then proceed while performing all the necessary rituals. This form is called Brahma Vivah because it was previously prevalent mostly in Brahmin families and also because the boy had to complete his Brahmacharya studies before becoming the groom. Daiva Vivah. When a yajna is being performed and the priest performing the yajna is doing an efficient job, the conductors of the yajna sometimes give away their daughter to the priest as part of his fees. This marriage of the priest and the yajna conductor's daughter is called Daiva Vivah. Here it is to be noted that the daughter is given to the priest during the yajna and not after. This form is called Daiva Vivah because the ritual of giving a daughter to a priest during a yajna is called Daiva ritual. Arsh Vivah. When the bride is given to a groom according to laws, and the groom gifts a pair of cows and bulls to the bride's father, then that marriage is called Arsh Vivah. This method is used mostly for Brahmins who are dependent on alms by other people. This form is called Arsh Vivah because the name denotes its majority of usage in Brahmin families, as Arsh means big prayer ceremony. The king of Vidarbha gave away his daughter Lopamudra to sage Agast as per Arsh Vivah. Prajapatya Vivah. When the bride is given to the groom after saying the words, "May you both perform your duties together," then that marriage is called Prajapatya Vivah. Here, duty implies religious duties like sitting in a yajna. Prajapatya marriage is considered a bit inferior because the bride is given to the groom for a very specific purpose, which is being with him in religious ceremonies. This form is called Prajapatya Vivah because this union's main goal is to perform religious ceremonies in order to repay the debts of the Prajapati. Asur Vivah. When the groom purchases a bride from her family with wealth, then that marriage is called Asur Vivah. Here the parents sell her daughter for a fee to the groom. This is a commercial transaction between the groom and the bride's family, with the bride being the commodity. Asur Vivah was used by many Kshatriyas in order to marry princesses for desire or for diplomatic reasons. Princess Gandhari of Gandhar and Princess Madri of Madra were bought by Hastinapur in order to marry them to Prince Dhritarashtra and Prince Pandu respectively. Now, why this form is called Asur Vivah is not very clear, but one explanation could be that this form of marriage was used by a non-Aryan tribe in ancient India called the Asuras, so the name could have come from that. One other thing to note here is that in all these forms of marriage, there is no mention of modern day dowry, which is the bride's family giving wealth and property along with the bride to the groom. Contrary to that, in many of these forms, the groom gives gifts and wealth to the bride's family in exchange for the bride. So, unlike popular belief, the orthodox dowry system doesn't have any roots in ancient Indian practices. I will discuss this in detail in some other video, but in short, the current dowry system is just a result of patriarchy. As time passed, dominant men changed the meanings of these marriages to what suited them and kept enforcing them in the society, which resulted into the current dowry system. Gandharv Vivah. When a man and woman in love with each other mutually decide to be together without involvement of anyone's parents and without any rituals, the marriage is called Gandharv Vivah. Here, physical attraction is the main source of union and the marriage is complete after the sexual intercourse. So basically, Gandharv Vivah is marriage through mutual desire and love. Now, why this form is called Gandharv Vivah is also not very clear. One reason could be that the beings called Gandharvas were excellent singers and guardians of Som, the divine drink. So singing and Som could signify love and desire, which is why this form is called Gandharv Vivah. Examples of Gandharv Vivah include Dushyant and Shakuntala and Arjun and Ulupi. Rakshas Vivah. When a woman is forcefully abducted by a man after either injuring the woman's parents or just killing them, then the marriage is called Rakshas Vivah. Rakshas Vivah is marriage by force. Here the woman is of course unwilling but is forcefully taken away and her family is injured and even killed in some instances. This form is called Rakshas Vivah because the beings Rakshasas were also known for their crude, cruel and forceful methods. Bhishma abducted the three princesses of Kashi, Amba, Ambika and Ambalika for his nephew Vichitravirya after defeating everyone who challenged him. Paisaj Vivah. When the man secretly has sexual intercourse with a woman without her knowledge, which is when she is either asleep, intoxicated or unconscious, then that is called Paisaj Vivah. Basically, Paisaj Vivah is when a man rapes an unconscious woman and kidnaps her. This is the lowest and most sinful of all marriages as it involves deception and fraud. And the son born out of this marriage is also not considered the rightful heir of his father. This form is called Paisaj Vivah because the beings Pisachas were also known for roaming around stealthily in the night. So these are the 8 forms of marriage. Now, which marriages are accepted and which aren't is a very debated topic as different books have different hierarchies. For example, in some books, first 6 are lawful for Brahmins, last 4 for Kshatriyas, and again last 4 except Rakshas for Vaishyas and Shudras. But that contradicts with the statement that the first 4 are lawful for Brahmins, Rakshas alone for Kshatriyas, and Asur alone for Vaishyas and Shudras. Also, some places state that out of the last 5, first 3 are lawful while last 2 are unlawful. But Gandharv and Rakshas are also lawful for Kshatriya. So this is a really confusing topic with no clear answers. But in short, we can broadly say that Brahma, Deva, Arsha and Prajapatya are widely approved while Asur, Gandharv, Rakshas and Paisaj are widely unapproved. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share to your family and friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Relevant Myths and hit the bell icon in order to receive more such mythical trivia. Thank you for watching and have an awesome day.